Welcome to Deep Thought, have and have nots. You know what? This is something to really think about because, of course, we get people out here complaining and they say, oh, society's falling apart, and we got society's falling apart and got all these trouble and, people complaining about everything in their lives. But for every person that's complaining, or even for every 5 persons complaining and seeing some bad stuff, there's some people who are succeeding. It's interesting. I was thinking about that. And it actually was on a personal thing because I was thinking about myself. I was like, well, I got no complaints. Got a house bigger than actually what I can keep clean by myself. My sons have to come over and help me clean up. But I got all this space, I got freedom, I got all this. I don't have nothing to really complain about. Nothing, not a single thing. Got the relationships I want, got the options in relationships I want. It was like, And, I can't pretend like I'm a have-not. I can't come up here. Seriously, I would be disingenuous if I did that. I would be like, oh, I don't have this or that. It was like, no, I got freedom. Shoot, even when a cop would stop me, I've had cops, they just give me warnings instead, stop me and give me a warning or be kind of friendly to me. Shoot, one time I was speeding and there was a speed trap, the cop just told me to slow down and stuff. I was like, okay, shoot, even that. But then there's some other people, they catch some hell from it and everything. And I was just thinking about that. And that's one thing I saw years ago is going to increasingly become the society is have and have nots. You got plenty of people on the have side. They don't have anything to complain about. Got money, got good relationships, good family, loving family, like not only monetarily, but socially, they doing okay. They can't, they don't need the society to fall apart. Now, you get some other people, of course, shoot, their lives are not going well. They don't have the relationships they want, might not be working, not living any place they want. Oh yeah, they're suffering. And that's what this society's increasingly become. It's like, yeah, for every person that's complaining, like I said, for every 5 people complaining, there's at least one who's not. And it might be better than that. The odds might be better. It might be 3 people who are not, It depends where you at. It's like even where you live and everything. Like in the area I live in, very little crime. I remember there was a shooting in a mall near me. And that was a big deal. One of the cops actually got caught saying on camera, it's like, we're not used to this. And they're not. They're not. In fact, I've said that several times. When I'm doing my car video, I'll be like, oh, there's a popo. Usually they looking for speed traps. Seriously. They don't get much work otherwise. There's not a lot going on. There's a few, no area is going to be perfect, but it's actually safe in most areas where I live. It's safe. It's a safe area. Of course, they got money and everything. And see, that's one thing too. It was like, you live in a high-end area, got a lot of professionals. The median household income is like $84,000 and all of that. It's like, oh, okay. It was like, there's not going to be a lot of trouble. But then you get some people in some poor areas, they ain't saying the same thing. They hearing an ambulance or a police siren all the time. Like usually around here when I hear like a siren or something, it's usually some medical emergency at most. Like the fire department, even the fire departments around here don't get much. But then you get some other areas, you're gonna hear it every night. You're gonna hear something every night and people get used to it, or a gunshot or something, And that's something to think about. It depends on where you're at. You gotta really look at, your own situation first, but then what you're not suffering. Be thankful that you are in a position where you're not suffering. You have a job and you live in a relatively crime-free area. And a lot of people, they fighting for that. In fact, you know, politicians, they'll use that. But see, a lot of people, they're not facing those situations. So they're like, yeah, you know, they got the money. They're not worried about, or even, like, you know, you get some people saying, oh, it's a recession and everything. For who? I can't remember every recession that's been since I've been an adult. I would say since I graduated high school in 83, I hadn't noticed. In fact, it was funny, saw something, there was a recession, big recession back in 82, according to some people talking. I was like, I didn't notice. You know, I'm like, you know, but I was more on the have side then. And stuff, going to a private high school. So I didn't notice anything, and nobody was complaining at the school. Nobody really noticed anything, you know, and it's interesting. And I can't say I've ever really noticed. People will say recession. I was like, you know, even during the last great recession, I was like, I actually made more money. I was actually steady working and everything. I didn't notice anything, you know? And, you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but, you know, you get a lot of people who are in that position, you know, no matter what happens, and, you know, they'll do it for political reasons or whatever. They'll say all these people are suffering, but then a lot of people aren't. And it's something, it really is something to think about. Because my thing is, okay, what are the haves doing? And a lot of times it really does come down to a mindset. You know, it comes down to a mindset. Reason I really have not suffered through different recessions and everything personally. But what was it? I always had a mindset of fixing up. I always had a mindset I was going to get mine. And even then is, you know, it depends on where you're at. You know, just because, you know, what did I do? I just put myself in a position. I was always in a position to make money no matter what. You know, because I always preach about sovereignty and everything. And so I was always putting myself in a position, even during down moments. I've had some down moments, but then I was like, boom, let me do this, this, and this, you know? But unfortunately, and I'm gonna tell you what, it really does come down to what you're thinking about. It comes down to up here. You know, that's why I promote thinking, because my thoughts were I was gonna get mines no matter what. You know, I was gonna have no matter what, because I've seen for decades it would be that situation. But see, a lot of people who are in a have-not position, a lot of times it's what they're thinking about, what they're looking at. Because even during recessions, there's still businesses that still stay in business. You know, then they might say, well, not as many people can buy. It depends on what it is. It depends on what it is, though. And it's something to think about, like what position that you want to be in. You want to be a have, or you want to be a have-not? Are you good with being have-not? I hope you're not good with it. And understand, if you're in a position now where you're struggling and you could say, well, I'm have-not right now, remember there's people who are haves who are doing okay. So think about it. What are they doing? Learn from them, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for right now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.